All right, here's my screen, and I'm going to go into the Logitech app with Brio. Open that up there, and it's going to connect. There you go. So this is the webcam right now. The audio you're hearing is coming from my Shure MV7. And this is not coming from my MacBook, or it's not coming from the Brio. But here's what the app looks like, and let me see if I could make it bigger. I don't like the size of this window. Okay, I can't really maximize this. I can minimize it, but I can't make this screen bigger. That's a limitation. When you first open up this app, this works for several different types of cameras. And here is the Brio. Check the Brio, open that up. Takes a second to open up. And here's the view you get. I am on a Mac. This might look different on a PC. And it looks like you can zoom. Yep. You can zoom in there, and here I can change the angle of view because the Brio allows it 90 degrees, 78, 65. And then I have autofocus. I can enable it and disable it. And then the color adjustment. I have a lot of parameters there. Oh, these are just like preset filters. But there are the adjustments right there. So I can do auto exposure. There's no f-stops or shutter speed, but it looks like it's just with percentages. Let me just turn that auto exposure back on. And then I could do the white balance. It was on auto white balance, and now I could tweak the white balance. There, let me just do auto white balance. I can also tweak the contrast, sharpness, and saturation. And there's HDR on and off. I haven't noticed a difference between the on and the off. It still doesn't look that amazing. With the dynamic range, you can see the window above my dog there completely blown out. One thing I don't see here to be able to control what if it's 4K or 1080p. Doesn't look like I can change that in any of these adjustment settings here. So we're kind of stuck with whatever the auto default is. And in a previous version of this app, you could do a lot more. This app is quite limiting. I wonder if there's another app out there that Logitech has for the Brio, because in the other app, you were able to record within the app, and you could adjust the shutter speed and the ISO. I believe you can adjust those parameters, or at least you could do adjusting the resolution. I'm for sure remembering the previous generation of this app. You're able to adjust whether you want 4K, 1080p, standard definition, but this you can't do that. You're really limited. That's a bummer. I'm going to open up the Elgato Facecam app now, and I can go full screen on this. There you go, full screen. Here you can save any of these settings that you want to dial in, and you save it, and it's saved directly to the Facecam. So you can unplug the Facecam and plug it into a different computer, and you should have the same settings. Here's the zoom. It's 83.2 on the wide end and all the way to 24.4. I don't really mess with the contrast or saturation, but I do mess with the sharpness because I think the sharpness does add a bit more clarity to the image. Here are the exposure settings. I had it on auto, but I can go manual and I can adjust shutter speed and ISO. Right here is the white balance, and down here is noise reduction. I just keep the noise reduction off, and then you can have PAL or NTSC. Here in the preview formats, I think this, you can choose different resolutions and frame rates. Can't do 24p, and you can't do 4K. It's not a 4K camera. It's only limited to 1080, but you could do 1080 60. Here you can looks like you take screenshots, snapshots of whatever this is. You're not able to record using this interface, which would be nice, but it's just the amount of controls here. I like that, and the fact that you could save all of these settings to the camera is unlike any of the other webcams. Here's the interface for the Insta360 Link. This is a Link controller. It's August 12th right now, so whatever that latest date is, firmware and software, that's what I'm rocking right now, and I'm hoping that Insta360 will update it with a few different features, but here's what the interface looks like on the controller app. On the bottom left here, you can control the resolution. On the bottom here are your main, I think, mode settings. I would call this the mode settings that other people have talked about. I don't want to go really into that. Here you can record from the app, and there you can do a screenshot. On this side, you can control the gimbal like this. I can move the gimbal around. That's nice. And looks like I could zoom in. Yep. And it maintains, at least on the Link controller app, it looks like it maintains pretty good sharpness when I zoom in there, but I'm going to leave it at its widest angle. Now in the image section here, image settings, and I thought that the Elgato Facecam app was the best, but I think this tops it, because here, when you have auto exposure, you can change your auto exposure, and when you go to manual exposure, you can adjust your ISO and your shutter speed just like you could do that in the Camera Hub app with Elgato Facecam. And here I want to dial my shutter speed to 1/60th. I want to lock it at 1/60th. Looks like you can also do a whole curve. Yeah, it looks like you can do some stuff there if you really want to dial it in, but I'm gonna reset that. I'm gonna leave the exposure on manual, and then I'll also tweak the white balance here. It's on auto white balance, but I'm gonna go make it a little warmer. Here you can adjust your brightness, contrast, saturation, sharpness. I don't think I really need to adjust any of these. Let me see the brightness, what that does. Oh no, the brightness doesn't do, no, I don't want to mess with the brightness. Contrast, yeah, if I wanted a faded film look, I could do that, but I don't want to mess with that. Put that back. Saturation, oh, I can go black and white. Then I could go extreme. I bet the processing power on this app is pretty strong because I'm having some delays, and I'm running this is being recorded on an M1 MacBook Pro. So you might need a more powerful computer to not have these delays here. In the sharpness, let's see if that takes anything out. Yeah. Go back to 50. It looks like you can save these as presets if you want. That's interesting. More settings. Oh, these are the gestures. Other people have talked about the gestures. I'm not going to go over the gestures. You can do tracking speed. You can adjust the flicker. HDR mode. Let's see if HDR mode. Oh, it's not supported in 4K, which I'm in right now. I won't touch HDR. But yeah, this is a really great app right now that I'm looking at. It has everything you could need. I feel like this tops the Elgato Facecam.